to the wire as 3 teams battle it out for just 2 playoff spots. See who's going to advance and who's going home. Plus, a wild finish at Higgins Bowl with a playoff spot on the line. Would this prayer be answered? And a look ahead at the playoffs with the Columbians' Micah Rice. It's time for your Clark County Scoreboard. Hello and welcome to Clark County Scoreboard. I'm Brian Slegg. We start with the biggest game of the week as Camas visited McKenzie Stadium to battle Union. On the line, just the league title. Craig Bernbach joins us now for more. Craig?
Thanks, Brian. And after the first 4 weeks of the season, who would have thought that Camas would have a chance to win the 4A Greater St. Helens League outright with a win over rival Union? Yep, the Papermakers started out 0-4, losing 4 straight to tough Oregon high schools. But once they got back to our side of the bridge, Camas just never stopped winning. And on Friday night, their defense pretty much stopped the mighty Titans and landed them in the postseason. Yet with a win, the Papermakers would win the league outright. Union, well, they needed a victory to give them a shot at the postseason. The home team scores first. First touchdown of the game, Mitch Rainier threw a laser to Corey Bosovich, got Union down to the 1. From there, the sophomore sensation, Jaden Jones, is going to do the rest. He flops in for 6. Union led 7-3 at that point. But at the end of the half, Camas' defense comes up big. Ranigan looking to go deep, but Mark Thorkelson says, give me that, and he's not done. He's going to take it all the way back deep inside Union's territory to about the 25-yard line, and the Papermakers offense would cash in from there as Taylor Yanni finds big number 88, Sam Stark, tight end, does the rest. Camas led 12-7 at the break. And the Papermakers defense would never allow a point after that. Matter of fact, they'd get offensive. This is a huge hit on Ranigan in the end zone. That's a safety. Unfortunately, Ranigan knocked out of the game after that hit. And, well, Union gets knocked out by Camas. Camas heads to the playoffs with the league title. 17-7 was your final. Again, with that win, Camas earns a home playoff game. They're going to host Mount Rainier Friday, 6 o'clock at Doc Harris. Now, the only EPS school to make the playoffs, that's Mountain View. They cruise past Evergreen to capture the 3A Greater St. Helens League crown and earn a home playoff game on Saturday against Seattle Prep. And head coach Adam Matheson, he's excited about the matchup.
Yeah, it's a good challenge. And obviously the Metro League plays really good football. And, we had lost in the semifinals to O'Day in 2018.
Yes, it's a challenge, but it's one that Coach Matheson believes his players are ready for.
They're ready to go. I think we're starting to peak and play good football. So it should be a good one, 5 o'clock Saturday night.
A big reason that the Thunder are peaking right now, well, it's because they're healthy right now.
I think this will be the 4th game in a row maybe where we've got kind of the same lineup. And Achilles been really steady as a running back, and our secondary has been really stout and making good plays on the back end. Our D-line we're starting to get more and more guys involved there.
One player that's been really involved and really good is junior quarterback Mitch Johnson.
Yeah, I think he's starting to kind of figure some things out, and there's a good rhythm there. And I think Mitch is starting to run the ball a little better. With a little more aggression there. So that's nice when your quarterback can make some plays with his legs and his arm.
And while taking on a program like Seattle Prep from up north won't be easy, Coach Matheson says squaring off against a team from outside Clark County could be a good thing.
It's kind of nice to get outside the league. You start playing some of these coaches down here. They're really good coaches, and they see you over and over, and they kind of know what you do and what your adjustments are. And in the chess match, I think, becomes a little bit more interesting when you're playing the same people 3, 4, 5 years in a row, and sometimes twice in a calendar year. And so to get someone that maybe hasn't seen us in person, I think is nice.
Again, it's Mountain View, Seattle Prep, Saturday, 5 o'clock at McKenzie Stadium. Speaking of McKenzie Stadium, let's head back there for last Friday's nightcap game. Heritage and Prairie battled in their last games of the season. And, boy, do we have some plays in this one. Right off the bat, that's Thor Stepina for the Falcons, and that Falcon is flying. He's going to get gone. 84 yards to the house. That's the first score of the game. Later, it's Heritage time for some excitement. Stepina has the football, and then he doesn't have the football. It's LaDamian McCord who scoops it up, and he's going to, sprint 60 yards to the house to get the T-Wolves within a touchdown. But Prairie, they're going to prevail on this night thanks to this amazing run from Alex Ford. He's going to break some hearts, break some tackles, break off a little something. What a run this is. And Prairie, well, they run their way to a season-ending victory. 25-20 was your final. Now with that, we wrap things up from the Evergreen Public Schools studios. It's been a fun first season of being part of Clark County Scoreboard. But for now, for EPS, I'm Craig Birnbach. I'll send it back to you at VPS.
Thanks, Craig. Now over to Kiggins Bowl, where Columbia River hosted Hudson's Bay. For the Rapids, a win would mean the fourth 2A playoff spot. For the Eagles, a last chance to earn their first win of the year. And Bay got things going first. Dylan Damos got the start at QB for Bay, and on their second snap, he goes 54 yards to the house and lets River know that Bay won't be rolled over. For River, starting quarterback Adam Watts was out with a separated shoulder, so Victor Flores got the start. When Flores went down just before halftime, wide receiver Adam Rainier stepped in, and on his very first snap, he finds Thomas Blau on the fade to tie things up. Third quarter now. Bay driving, Dean Castillo hands it off to Nigel Brown, and he scores. Part of a huge second half for Brown, who had 68 yards rushing. On the ensuing kickoff, Aiden Flores takes the squib and makes a move, but leaves the ball behind as he gets stripped on the return, and Bay recovers. They drive it, flip sides on the field at the quarter break, and on 4th and goal on the 6-inch line, Talon Leone pushes it across, and suddenly Bay is up 21-7. Desperation time for River, down 2 touchdowns with 4.5 minutes left in the game when Adam Rainier makes a play. He sheds a tackler, hucks it up for Jacoby Fobbs, who grabs it, makes a move inside, and scores from 36 yards. Bay tries to run out the clock, but turns it over on downs with just 2 seconds left. The fans go nuts, players rush the field, but there's just 2 seconds left. After the refs clear the field, Rainier has one more chance. He throws it up to Fobbs, but there are just too many white jerseys around. That ball falls to the turf, and Hudson Bay picks up their first win of the year.
I think we just played with a chip on our shoulder. I think just after losing, we just wanted to come out and play the whole game. We've been playing first half, and then after the first half, we would start losing it. So this week, we just played all 4 quarters, and then we stepped up our game.
Bay wins 21-14. What a way to go out for those Hudson Bay seniors. So the Rapids' fate depended on Hawkinson, who would eliminate Washougal with a win. An upset would put the Panthers in the playoffs. Hawkinson is firing on all cylinders. Here, Jared Oldham connects with Hale Pryor to give the Hawks a 7-0 lead midway through the first quarter. Then it's Oldham again, this time on the ground. He keeps it, pushes his way through the crowd, and scores from 15 yards out. 14-0 Hawkinson. Their defense was just as dominant, forcing this interception and later a fumble they recovered. Hawkinson cruises to an easy 40-0 win, looking sharp as they head to the postseason. So here's the 2A playoff picture for Clark County Schools. Ridgefield is the number 1 seed and will host Aberdeen at 4 p.m. on Saturday. Hawkinson is number 2 and will take on Rochester at Battleground District Stadium at 6 on Saturday. Mark Morris is the 3 seed, and they'll travel to play WF West on Friday. River hangs on to that last spot and will face a test against number 1 Tumwater on Friday night. Joining us now to talk about the 2A playoffs is Micah Rice of the Columbian. Ridgefield, Hawkinson, and Mark Morris all won last week in 2A. What do you like about these teams, and how do you see they fare in the playoffs?
Obviously, you look at Ridgefield and Hawkinson, they have a lot of momentum going into the playoffs, especially Ridgefield completing a 9-0 undefeated regular season. They actually, at the time we're talking, they're waiting to see who their Week 10 opponent is going to be, because there's a 3-way playoff that has to happen up in the Evergreen Conference up north. But whoever Ridgefield ends up playing, whether that's Aberdeen, Shelton, or Rochester, the Spudders will have a lot of confidence. Likewise with Hawkinson, who hasn't lost since that opening week of league play clash against Ridgefield. The Hawks, they have the pedigree. They've been here before. And so I think both of those teams are likely candidates to make a little bit of a run here in the postseason.
Let's see the 4A matchup. With Camas's big win, they're the #1 seed and will host Mount Rainier on Friday at Doc Harris Stadium. #2 is Skyview, who will host Camas Saturday at 1 p.m. at Kiggins Bowl. VPS Game Time will bring us that game live on cable and on the web. Camas is yet again the league champs, and we're joined now by first-year head coach Jack Hathaway. Coach, you took over this team on somewhat short notice. What changed for you taking on the head coaching role?
Oh, shoot, man, a lot of things. Just my life changed quite a bit. The amount of time that the head coach has to put into things is a lot more than an assistant coach. So, all the off-season stuff, training, everything, parents and emails and parent meetings and everything. So everything runs through the head coach. And so, yeah, a lot changed, but it's been fun.
Coach, the team started 0-4. They fought hard against 4 Oregon Powers. How did you manage to keep the heads up and focus to not let the season slip away?
To be honest, I think our kids kept the level head, and we knew going forward that we were an inexperienced group with last season being kind of cut short a little bit, and so we knew that we had to play some really tough opponents to do what we want to do later in league and now in the playoffs. And so, it was all about a process, for us. And we knew that, playing tough teams and playing opponents that will get us ready for the challenges in the later part of our season is going to make it worth it. So, 0-4, 1-3, 3-1, 4-0. The mindset, I think, would have been the same. We got to get better either way. So,
your squad rallied for 5 wins in a row and the league title. What did that show and mean to you?
It kind of just that our crew is resilient, right? And they like coming to practice every day. They like working. They like getting better, and so that was really important for me. And that hard work pays off. When there's reward in the end, it's all good.
It's been an up and down season, but who are some of the players that you've relied on to lead this team?
I think our line has really come together. Offensively. Being able to run the ball on some good teams, and our running backs are tough. I think our receivers have made some big plays. Our quarterbacks, finding ways to win ball games. But when it's all said and done, our defense is legit, and I think they're tough, they're fast, they're physical, they're everything you want in a defense. And to say our linebackers are really, really good, but so is our D line and so is our secondary. So they're kind of the linebackers, are kind of the strength of our defense, but our D line's incredible as well, and same with our secondary. So it's fun to watch, and game planning wise, you'd hate to go against those guys. So
this week you go up against Mount Rainier. What does your team need to do to get the victory against the Rams?
I think we need to play smart football. I think we have to take care of the football. What we've been doing the last couple of weeks, take care of it, and make plays when they're there, And so there's opportunities, I think, that we see and our team sees, and we know we have to make those plays. And so whether that be running the ball or throwing it, that's the biggest thing. We got to play our football, our brand of football, and tough and physical and get after it. So pretty much the same plan every single week. It's control the line of scrimmage and make plays when you have to. So
after how the season started and how it ended, how do you think your team stacks up when it comes to playoffs?
We're prepared for it. We know what it looks like. We know what a few plays here and there in our first 4 games, and maybe the outcomes would have been different. I think our kids are understanding that. We're also understanding that when we correct those things, we can be pretty dangerous. We can be pretty good. So I just think moving forward, confidence is the biggest thing. I think we're confident in our abilities, and our coaching staff puts us in the right spots. And so, a talented team that's confident is dangerous in the playoffs, I think.
Lastly, I've seen a few people on Twitter ask to have the interim tag removed because of the success that you've had. What would that mean to you?
I'm not really worried about that. I know that's, it's just I'm here to coach football, and I love coaching football. I love these kids and the community and the coaching staff and our administration, and it's just been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. It's had its ups and downs, and the schedule is what it is, but you know what, it made me a better coach, made our kids better for it in the end, and so.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Hey, thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Skyview played a non-league game to wrap up its regular season against Adrian Nelson High School of Clackamas. The Hawks are a new school, and this is their first season of football. Already up 2-0 on a safety, Isaiah Patterson makes the first of many Storm trips to the end zone with the misdirection on the sweep. Skyview goes up 9-0 on the play. Later in the first, senior Gabe Martin shows why he's one of the best backs in the area. The patience, allowing the play to develop, making a move, gets to the edge, and takes off for the end zone. Still in the first, Nico Ariola has plenty of time and throws a strike over the middle to Jared Secor for the touchdown. Still in the first, Nelson with the ball, and they fumble. Gabe Martin scored it on offense, and now on defense, he scoops and scores. It's a whopping 30-0 lead at the end of the first quarter. In the second, that ferocious Skyview D keeps pushing. After the tip, freshman Gavin Packer picks this pass and takes it all the way back. He's played several games on varsity this year and will be a bright spot in the future for the Storm. This game is out of hand, but here's another play we have to show you. On the punt, the ball is tipped, and the big man, Jalen Salavea, fields it. This is going nowhere, right? Right? Wrong. We're playing hog ball as Jalen Salavea cannot be tackled. He spins and breaks away, and that end zone was his destiny. Salavea goes 59 yards for the touchdown, and his teammates are loving it. Skyview wins 59-0. Let's go back to Micah Rice to talk about the 4A playoff teams. Micah, Camas is the team that you talked about never giving up on. They beat Union 17-7 for the league title. What are their chances in the playoffs, and then what do you think about the Storm's chances as well?
Well, I would look for both of them to possibly make a run here. I think you ask each of those teams, and they'll say that obviously you don't play unless you want to win it all. But I think quarterfinals at least would be a good benchmark for success for both those teams. An interesting thing with those teams and the seeding committee. In a normal year or I shouldn't say normal because the seating committee is the new normal. In previous years, you would have probably had Skyview, the number 2 team from the Greater St. Helens League, have to go on the road by virtue of being not the league champion in a 4-team league. But this year with the seating committee, they liked what they saw from Skyview enough to give them a home game on Saturday where they will host at Kiggins Bowl, along with Camas getting a home game against Mount Rainier. And so you look at the development of a seating committee benefiting the teams down here and both getting Week 10 home games.
We saw earlier the 1 seed from the 3A level, Mountain View. So here's the 2 seed Kelso visiting Battleground. The Tigers have had a tough year, but it's always happy on senior night. That is, until Kelso got the ball. After a methodical drive, Judah Calixte scores from 2. He had 111 yards on just 9 carries on the night. In the second quarter, Hunter Latier starts to get loose. Here, it's a screen pass to Calixte out of the backfield. He slips a few tackles and with some help from the blockers goes 22 yards for the score. Minutes later, it's Latier again, this time on the fade to Zeke Smith. That's a 36-yard touchdown, and Latier would have a total of 4 on the night. Kelso cruises to a 49-6 win. Here's the 3A playoff picture. Seattle Prep visits Mountain View at 5 p.m. on Saturday at McKenzie Stadium. Kelso hits the road traveling to Auburn Riverside on Friday. Now back to Micah Rice. Micah, in the 3A, it looks to be Mountain View and Kelso who are moving on. How far can the Thunder and Highlanders make it in state?
Well, I would look, obviously, 3A is one of the toughest classifications throughout the state. That's where you find the Eastside Catholics, the Bellevues, the O'Days. And so a lot of it will depend on the draw. But for this opening or this week 10, Mountain View gets to host a game. They'll play host to Seattle Prep, which brings a 5-4 record into that game. Mountain View at 7-2 will be favored for that. Unlike previous years, where kind of the districts would match up their Week 10 opponents based on finishing places. This year, it was a independent seeding committee that made these Week 10 matchups. So obviously, with the Thunder getting to host after winning the 3A Greater St. Helens League, the seeding committee saw something good in them. And so the Thunder will try to get a win on Saturday and ride that momentum into the state tournament proper.
Here's one more playoff-bound team, Seton Catholic, hosting Fort Vancouver. Things start promisingly for the Trappers when Quandre Nelson returns the opening kick 56 yards. Then it's Caleb Sitkovich putting it up high on the sideline to Evan Mendez for 26 yards. First and goal, but Fort can't score as they cough this ball up at the 7-yard line and the Cougars recover. Seton Catholic drives it all the way back, punctuated by this 1-yard run from Jacob Williams. Later, Joe Callarain takes it in from 18 yards out. Seton Catholic earns its first ever playoff berth, winning 42-8. After defeating Ridgefield and Mark Morris last week, Columbia River is now the #1 volleyball team in the state. Would they let down against Hudson's Bay? The short answer is not a chance, especially on senior night. Riley Reeves helps establish the attack early. The high swing turned kill as the back line of Bay can't handle the heat. The Rapids win up 18-0 in the first set. Here, Bay gets it to 18-2 thanks to Peyton Ballard, who puts away a River free ball. But the first set is River all the way as they win 25-3. In set 2, the Rapids continue to roll. Here, they rally for a bit, but the Eagles can't return it. Claire Garrow of Bay tries to chase this one down, but no luck. River wins the set 25-9. Finally, in the third, it's Garrow on the serve, and it's wicked. But River returns it. Garrow narrowly saves the day again with that play, but it's all for naught. The rally, set, and match end with a whimper on a lift call by Bay. River wins 25-6 and sweeps the match 3-0. Now to soccer, a huge matchup in the 2A district tournament. Ridgefield took on Columbia River, and Ridgefield looked sharp. In the 13th minute, Kelly Corso scored on a free kick to put the Spudders up 1-0. After a Bailey Bushnell goal, the Ridgefield defense was tight, turning away several River attempts. In the 77th minute, Ella Rorabaugh sealed the deal with this goal. Final score, Ridgefield 3, River 0. They advance to the district championship against Hawkinson, and River is still alive in the losers bracket. Let's go out to windy Camas, where the Papermakers hosted Curtis in a bi-district playoff. Initially, it was a defensive struggle, still scoreless at the 72nd minute, despite Camas outshooting Curtis 13-1 in the first half. But then, Bella Burns breaks the stalemate with this goal, 1-0 Camas. And then, the goalie ventures out to grab this pass, but Parker Mares gets there first and dribbles it in from distance. Camas wins 2-0. Let's check in one more time with Micah Rice. Micah, we saw Ridgefield beat River at the 2A level. Who should we be keeping an eye on in the other leagues and districts?
Well, Camas, by virtue of their win this weekend against Curtis, has clinched a state berth. So the Papermakers, they know they're in. They're chasing a bi-district title now, where they play a semifinal match, and if they win that, they would go up north to play for a district title. That's obviously a feather that the Papermakers won in their cap. Switching to, before we go to 3A, at the time we're talking, Skyview and Union, by virtue of winning loser-out games this weekend, are still alive. Their road to state is a little tougher than Camas had by virtue of being the Papermakers being league champions, but the Titans and the Storm still alive, so they'll be looking to make a run. Similar situation in 3A, where Kelso is into the state bracket by virtue of winning the 3A GSHL, then winning a first round game this weekend in the district tournament. But Prairie, they have a little bit longer road, but they're still alive and hoping to make a run.
What games will you be keeping an eye on this week?
Well, obviously, we look at the football. That's where all the interest turns. It's the stakes really rise now that you're into a Week 10 situation, and teams are looking to get into that 16-team field of the state tournament proper. But I'm really interested to kind of change the focus and sharpen it a little bit on the 1A. La Center has really been impressive as the season has gone along. Their only 2 losses have been to Eatonville, which is ranked number 2 in the Class 1A, and Camas, which is viewed by many as the favorite for the Class 2B state title. So the Wildcats will host a Week 10 game on Friday against Montesano, and I think now we're going to see, are the Wildcats primed to possibly make a run? They have a long state pedigree. They're usually right there. 1A is a little different because the rosters are so small. If you get a couple of injuries, then that can really hamstring your team. And the Wildcats have dealt with a few of those, but they have great players at skill positions. And so I'm really eager to see kind of how La Center shows out here in their Week 10 matchup against Montesano.
Micah, we appreciate your time this fall. Thank you for all your help along the way.
All right, look forward to it.
Of course, you can find Micah and his team of reporters covering local high school sports at Columbian.com. They're also fantastic to follow on Twitter, especially when it comes to game days. There is one more sports broadcast coming up on Comcast Channel 328. On Saturday, November 6th, the VPS Game Time will bring you the Skyview Camas playoff game. That kicks off at 1 p.m. It's also available on the VPS social media feeds, so check YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for links. To end the show, here's our play of the week. Is there any question this one belongs to Jalen Salavea? The Skyview offensive lineman and linebacker takes the short punt and simply refuses to go down. He breaks tackles, drags defenders, pulls off a wild spin move, and then shows the wheels as he barrels his way to the end zone. Jalen's teammates go nuts. As you can imagine, Hogball is alive and well at Skyview, and this wild kick return is our play of the week. And that's it for us. This was our final show of the season. We had a lot of fun bringing you local high school sports this fall and working with Evergreen Public Schools and our other partners. If you liked it, make sure you share it and find us on all social media at Vancouver and Evergreen Public Schools on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm Brian Slight. Thank you for watching.